Anna and Catherine are both influencers, but take a look at the latest photos they posted. Which of these ladies do you think is richer? Catherine is richer, of course. Just look at the number of likes on her photo. She has 27,907 likes. Anna, on the other hand, has 9,837, which means that Catherine has way more followers and must be earning millions. Annie managed to buy presents for everyone except her dad. She knew what everyone wanted, but her dad was kind of secretive and not the talking type. He was also not great with technology and never bought anything online, so there was no way she could sneak into her dad's computer and check the saved items in his shopping cart. But he always liked to make lists in his little notebook, and Annie was sure she might be able to find a wish list there. So she sneaked into her father's office one day to look for the notebook. It was nowhere to be found, but his study table had a locked drawer. She looked for the key around the room but couldn't find it anywhere. That's when 2 different sticky notes attached to 2 different books inside the bookcase caught her eye. The first note was attached to a psychology book and had P5487TH written on it. The second note was attached to a detective novel and said P21320TH. Annie immediately knew what the notes meant. Can you guess what she had to do? She had to open to page 548 in the first book and find the 7th word on this page. Then, she had to open page 213 in the second book and find the 20th word on that page. The words she found were under and desk. The girl immediately looked under the desk and found the drawer key taped to it. James was walking back to his apartment from work late at night. Suddenly, he was hit on the head and taken away. When he woke up, he found himself in a small room. He tried to escape, but the door was locked with a padlock. James tried to look for the key, but there was nothing in there but a window with strange-looking metal bars. Suddenly, he noticed something. It helped him to find the key. Do you see it too? One of the metal bars is different from the others. That one is the key. Giselle was camping in the forest during a night when the moon was full. After midnight, when she was making s'mores by a fire, she heard a loud howl. There was a werewolf in the forest, and it managed to find Giselle's tent because it smelled of food there. Thankfully, Giselle was not in her tent anymore when the werewolf arrived because she had already run away. Hiding behind a tree, she watched the creature eat her s'mores and tear up the tent. When the werewolf left before sunrise, the girl returned to her tent, but everything was ruined. There was no more food or water left. Her cell phone had run out of battery, so she couldn't call anyone. She started wandering through the forest, and soon she came upon a witch's house. When she walked in, she saw the witch and another lady. Giselle asked the witch if she could send her home. The witch agreed to help her on one condition. She would only send Giselle home if she guessed her sister's name. If not, she would turn her into a frog. Giselle knew the answer, but how? Did you notice that the witch's sister is wearing the same necklace around her neck as the werewolf? Well, Giselle did, and there's a name written on the necklace: Abigail. Zoe went to a security guard and reported that her gym bag was missing. She said she'd gone to the ladies' restroom after her dance cardio class. She was fixing her hair when someone came up from behind and pushed her. So she didn't see the person who had taken her bag. The security guard refused to check the footage from the security camera that was outside the restroom. Neither did he file a report. Why? Zoe said she was fixing her hair, so she must have been looking in the mirror. If she was telling the truth about someone sneaking up from behind, she would have definitely seen their reflection. So, Zoe probably lied so that she could sue them. Luckily, the security guard was super smart.
Gemma is a mermaid. No, really. She lives in the Atlantic Ocean with her family and friends. Can you tell who the youngest sister in the family is just by looking at them? Take a look at the granny mermaid. She has plenty of starfish on her tail. It's a hint. Each star symbolizes 1 year of life. That means that the second mermaid is the youngest. Her tail is decorated with 15 starfish, which means she's 15. And 2 other sisters are 18 and 22 years old, respectively. Now one day, Gemma went to a mermaid party, but one of the guests was not a real mermaid. Can you tell who it was? This shark over there is not a mermaid. Gemma's mother, Fiona, owns a cute one-story jewelry store for mermaids. She came to her store early in the morning and found out that the most expensive necklace had been stolen. She called the underwater police. Detective Fisher arrived and questioned Fiona. "I closed the store at 10 p.m. and went home. The pearl necklace was still right there." Detective Fisher identified 3 suspects. The owner of the store next door said, "I closed my door at 8 p.m. and went home right after that." The guard said, "I was on duty last night. Perhaps the thief snuck into the store when I was patrolling another floor." And the cleaning lady said that she'd finished cleaning at 4 p.m. Then she rushed home because her husband was having a birthday party. So, who's lying? The guard. Fiona's shop is a one-story building. He couldn't be on another floor when the necklace was stolen. There's no other floor. Gemma was swimming with dolphins and reached the surface of the ocean. Suddenly, she noticed 2 handsome guys, Nick and Rick, and they were both in trouble. Which guy should Gemma save first? Rick. Although this wooden boat is a bit flooded with water, it's still okay, and Nick can scoop the water out. But this inflatable boat is damaged. Rick will soon find himself in the water, and a shark is nearby. Gemma saved both guys and brought them to the shore. Nick grabbed his phone and took her picture without permission. Gemma asked him to delete the photo because merfolk didn't want people to know about them. Nick said, "Okay, I'll delete the evidence. But first, you gotta crack my riddle. Salty water everywhere, but not sea in sight. What am I talking about? Can you help Gemma?" The correct answer is tears. Rick asked Gemma on a date, and she said yes. She went to a local witch doctor to buy a potion to get human legs for 24 hours. The door to the witch's house was locked, and the note said, "If you want to meet me, find the key first." Can you help Gemma find the key? Here it is. Gemma opened the door with the key and found another door that required a password. There was a note on the door. What has 88 keys but cannot open a single door? Can you help Gemma crack the code? It's a piano. Gemma didn't have any money. The witch offered her this deal.
If you guess my riddle, I'll give you the potion for free. But if you don't crack it, you will be my servant forever. So listen, 2 in a hole and 4 in a pack. 6 in a trio, you see. 8's a quartet, but what you must get is the name that fits just one of me. What am I?
Gemma cracked this riddle right away and got her potion. What about you? The correct answer is half. Gemma got the potion, drank it, and turned into a human. There were 3 routes she could take to get to the meeting point. The first path led through a village inhabited by vampires. The second path is full of toxic flowers that could make her lose her mind. And the third path went through an enchanted forest that blocked all magic and canceled all previous spells. Which way should Gemma choose? The first option is the safest. It's a sunny day and vampires are probably sleeping. Rick and Gemma met at a restaurant called Three Mermaids. But there are only 2 statues of mermaids on the porch. The owner of the cafe, Victor, is well aware of this and could easily fix this. But he doesn't. Why? This is his business strategy. Passers-by notice the mistake, enter the restaurant to inform the owner, and often stay for lunch. Rick is a detective at the police station. During his dinner with Gemma, he received an urgent call from work. Jeff, a country house owner, said that his housekeeper had tried to get rid of him. The night before, the housekeeper gave him an apple for dessert. The man took a bite and passed out. He woke up the next morning and immediately called the police. Rick and Gemma went to the crime scene. The housekeeper denied everything. Gemma didn't know who to believe, but when Rick examined the crime scene, he understood who was lying right away. Who's the liar, the housekeeper or the owner? The owner said he'd eaten a poison apple. So if it happened the day before, this apple must be brown now. But it's not. The man must have bitten into it just before calling the police. Gemma didn't notice this clue because she doesn't live on land. Now Bill was walking down the pier, dreaming about buying his own boat one day and going for a trip around the world. Suddenly, he saw a large fancy boat filled with people. Then he looked again, but this time he didn't see a single person on board. Why? Let me give you a little hint. The boat hasn't sunk. The answer is because all the people on board are married. No single? Captain Sam invited Bill to join their party. Bill was very glad and went up to the deck immediately. Captain Sam pointed at 3 women on the deck and told Bill, "Meet my wife, Georgina." Can you tell which of these ladies is his real wife? This lady is wearing clothes similar to the ones the captain has, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's his wife. This woman's wedding ring is unusual and identical to this guy's ring, so she's probably his wife. But this woman over there, with no ring at all, has a heart-shaped tattoo on her arm with Sam's name inside. If you look closely, you'll see a similar heart-shaped tattoo on Sam's arm. Aww. Georgina went up to the guys and asked Bill a tricky question. What 2 things can you never have for breakfast? Have you guessed? Lunch and dinner, of course. They took Bill to the dining room, and he saw 2 tables with seemingly identical baristas. But there are 3 differences between them. Have you noticed them already? Here they are. Bill asked Georgina a question about her family. She answered this way, "I have as many brothers as sisters, but each brother has only half as many brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? Can you guess?" There are 4 sisters and 3 brothers. One of the baristas brewed delicious coffee for Bill, Georgina, and Sam. Georgina left her cup on the table and went to wash her hands. When she came back, her cup was gone. Who stole Georgina's coffee? This guy. There are lipstick stains on his cup. After dinner, Bill went to the bathroom and noticed a fish tank wall in the hallway. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. To open it, the guy needed a code. How can Bill unlock the door? There's a hint on the door, a yellow fish. Bill should count all the yellow fish in the water and type in this number. That's right, the correct code is 13. Bill unlocked the bathroom door and found himself in a weird hall with 4 doors. There was a TV and a small window there. The window was on the wall near the doors. It was too small to escape through. Suddenly, the TV turned on and informed Bill that he had only one chance to survive. He needed to choose the right door. 3 doors were fake, and only one door could lead him to freedom. How can Bill figure out which door is real? He needs to open the window. This will create a draft under the right door. Bill went back to the dining room. The waiter served 2 trays with delicious sushi. Can you see any differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, Bill felt sick and fainted. He woke up in a creepy castle. Sam's voice said through a loudspeaker, "If you manage to solve all my riddles, you'll leave this place with $1 billion. And if not, you'll stay here forever. First of all, open the door." Bill examined the door. It required a passcode. Bill didn't waste time and cracked the code very quickly. Have you guessed what the right combination is? It's 4784. Take a look at the wall. There's a hint. There are 4 flowers, and each flower has a specific number of petals. Bill found himself in a long, dark hallway. The voice said, "Here's the next riddle. Listen attentively. It can't be seen, can't be felt, can't be heard, and can't be smelt. It lies behind stars and under hills, and empty holes it fills. It comes first and follows after. It ends life in laughter. What is it?" The correct answer is darkness. As soon as Bill gave his answer, someone turned on the light in the hallway. Bill noticed 4 doors. It was extremely cold behind the first door. If he chose to go that way, he'd turn into a block of ice in a matter of seconds. There was an evil vampire behind the second door. The room behind the third door was filled with toxic gas that wouldn't let Bill breathe. And the fourth door led to a water tank with hungry sharks. What should Bill choose? He needs to wait till dawn and walk through the second door. Vampires hate sunlight, so Bill would be safe. In the next room, Bill saw a wall covered with this pattern. Can you help him spot the odd image and unlock the passage to the next challenge? Aha! Here it is. Bill entered the next room and fell into a 20-foot deep pool. The pool was empty, but in 5 minutes it would start filling with water. Bill was terrified because he was a bad swimmer. He looked around and noticed a 6-foot-long rope lying at the bottom of the pool. He also saw a 4-foot-wide wooden barrel and a 3-foot-tall metal safe. Bill was 6 feet tall. Can you help him get out of the pool safely? Bill should hold on to the barrel when the water starts to rise. It'll help him stay afloat and take him to the surface. Bill got out of the pool successfully and entered the next room. He saw this pattern. There's a hidden button among these images. Can you tell where it is? It's over there. Bill found himself in a beautiful garden. He needed to figure out which way led to the exit. Have you already cracked the riddle? Only the fifth path is free of obstacles. The next door had a 5-digit combination lock. Bill looked around for some clues. He found a piece of paper with 5 digits, 81169. But this code was wrong. Bill began to panic, but then he realized why the code didn't work. What about you? Bill was holding the paper upside down. The correct code is 69118. So Bill had stomach cramps and went to the hospital where he was prescribed some pills. The next morning, he was found unconscious. Police found someone had switched the pills and questioned 3 suspects. Dr. Johnson, his cardiologist, saw him at 3 in the afternoon and wrote the prescription. John, the hospital cleaner, came to clean the room at 7 a.m., found him and called the police. Susan, his nurse, brought the pills to him at 8 that morning. Who's lying? Susan, the cleaner, called the police 1 hour before she claimed to have brought him the pills. Mia got a new cat and brought it into her apartment where she lived with 3 other people. But all her roommates disliked her new pet. 3 months later, she went on a 2-day business trip, but when she came back, the cat was gone. She questioned all her roommates. Steve didn't notice the cat was missing. David said he was allergic to cats and couldn't survive a day with one around him. Sean was the one taking care of the cat, and he was shocked he couldn't find it that morning. Who's lying? David. If he was allergic to cats, he wouldn't have lasted with Mia's cat in the same house for several months before. You went to visit an abandoned castle when you got trapped in the basement. There's a small bamboo stick on the table, almost as long as your forearm. In front of you, there are 3 doors, and you must spend 1 hour behind one of them to get out of the castle. Which is the safest option? Behind the first door, there's 100 rabid wild rats. Behind the second, there's a box filled with water, and you must keep your head submerged in it. In the third door, there's an infinitely deep pool filled with box jellyfish. The second door. You can use the bamboo stick to breathe. Brian was traveling by train to a nearby city. He placed his watch on the table and was looking for his train ticket when the train went into a dark tunnel. When it came out, Brian's watch was gone. There were only 3 people in the car. Mary was sleeping the entire time. Christopher was looking for his wallet to grab a cup of coffee. Mike was playing a game on his phone. Who took the watch? It was Mary. When the journey started, she had her sleeves rolled up, and if she were sleeping, she wouldn't put them down. Sarah was walking out of the mall when someone snatched the purse out of her hand and drove off in a red car. The security closed the parking lot and found 3 people with red cars. Alyssa said she was inside shopping when she got called by security. David said he had only just arrived. Bob said he was about to pay his parking fee and drive off. Who isn't telling the truth? David. He's got a parking ticket on his window. From the sign on the wall, he's been there for more than 2 hours without paying and got a ticket. And he lies about being very allergic to cats. Simon broke into the richest house in the neighborhood and took a very expensive diamond. Security guards caught him walking out and searched him for the diamond. They knew he'd taken it, So when they couldn't find anything, they X-rayed him. Still, nothing showed up. Where was Simon carrying the diamond? As soon as the guards caught him, he put it in one of their pockets. After the search was over and they were driving him home, he took it out of their pocket with nobody noticing. A crazy scientist took you into their basement and is planning to keep you there for a year. He's given you the option to choose one of 3 foods to eat for the year to stay alive. Which one do you choose to save your life? Pasta and bread, rice and beans, steak and broccoli. If you only ate pasta and bread, you'd get scurvy in just 8 months. And steak with broccoli is low in carbs, which will start breaking down your muscle mass to help you stay alive. Your best bet is rice and beans. It's high in all 9 essential amino acids your body needs, and you can germinate some of the raw beans, eating their sprouts to get your vitamin C. Aren't you a smart cookie?
Evelyn went to a corporate party with her husband. At the party, she suddenly blacked out. When Evelyn woke up in a hospital, she couldn't remember anything. There were 2 men in front of her, and each of them claimed to be her husband. But which one tells the truth? Since Evelyn and her husband were at a corporate event, they were both dressed accordingly. The guy in a hoodie doesn't look formal enough, so her husband must be the one who's wearing a suit. Miss Lodge was going on a vacation. She cleaned up her office and left, taking the key with her. When she came back 2 weeks later, she immediately realized that someone had been to her office while she'd been away. How did she understand it? When she left, the window blinds were closed, and now they're open. A group of friends met in the evening for a game night. According to the rules of one of the games they played, they each had to draw a card with a number. Soon, they realized that the number 6 was missing. Since it was a new set of cards, it was weird that they had already lost it. They all revealed their cards and, indeed, there was no 6. Suddenly, one of the friends started to laugh. She said she'd found the missing card. Can you spot it too? The player who has a 9 actually has a 6, but he's holding it upside down. There are only 8 cards and the highest number is also 8. It was reported that another civilian had invaded Earth. Detective Callum had a special mission to find everyone who was not human. He entered a cafe searching for invaders and noticed one of them right away. Can you tell which customer is not human? It's that dark-haired guy right there. Look, he has 6 fingers. Take a look at this busy street. Can you find an imposter here? It's this guy. His clothes are super warm, but look, his face is blue. Now we're moving to the mall. Try to find an intruder here. Look, this woman is glimmering. She must be from another world. We have a few more intruders to catch. Detective Callum found out that one of them was at a local college, so he drove there. Which student is not human? Look, that girl is floating, just a couple of inches above the ground, but still, definitely not an ordinary student. After work, the detective went to the gym, but even there was someone from another planet. Can you spot them? Pay attention to the guy on the treadmill. He's running too fast. He must be an imposter. Arya called the police and reported that her friend Violet had been poisoned. The girl found her unconscious on the floor. Here's what Arya said. I was walking past Violet's house and noticed that the lights were on. I figured that she was at home, so I decided to come in and say hi. The front door was open, so I walked in and saw Violet just like that. The police officer asked her if she had touched anything. Arya answered that she had only touched Violet to check her pulse, and then her cell phone to make the call. The police detained her for further investigation. Why? The lights in the room are off, but Arya said that it hadn't been dark in the room. That's why she entered. If she didn't touch the switch, then she's lying now. It was a sunny spring Sunday morning. The whole family was at home. When Hannah returned to her room after breakfast, she noticed that someone had played a prank on her and stolen all the clothes from her closet. She questioned every person in the house. Hannah's mom said she'd been busy reorganizing her bedroom. Her dad said that he'd been shoveling snow in front of the house. The girl's sister, Serenity, said that she had been playing video games in her room. Who took Hannah's clothes? It was her dad. There is no snow outside. It's spring. He couldn't have been shoveling snow. So he lied. Tyler came back home and found a love letter in his mailbox. It was a very sweet one, but the sender didn't write their name. Instead, there was some code added at the end. Can you figure out the name of Tyler's secret admirer? The alphabet is the key. D plus 1 means the letter following D, which is E. O minus 3 means 3 letters before O, which is L. 2 letters after G is I. Z plus 0 is actually Z. And C minus 2 is A. It seems that the girl's name is Eliza. Kara likes traveling, but she's terrible at packing. So, your task is to check her suitcase and find one thing she doesn't need to take with her. Kara is going camping with her friends. What's that extra thing she packed that she needs to leave at home? There's no electricity in the forest. She can leave this electric kettle at home. This time, Kara is packing for her vacation in Mexico. She and her boyfriend have booked a room in a beautiful hotel, right by the ocean. What won't she need there? She probably won't need the towel. Hotels usually provide them and replace them every day with clean ones. This time, Kara is going on a ski trip with a group of friends. The task is the same. What won't she need there? I'm not sure about their plans, but she isn't likely to need this swimsuit. And finally, Kara is going to visit her grandparents. They live on a farm, and she'll stay there for a week. There's no electricity or running water there, so it's gonna be a bit tough for a girl from a big city. What doesn't she need to take with her? I think it's this hairdryer. No electricity, remember?
Joy didn't show up and didn't answer her friends' calls. Lucy, Rhonda, and Lily went to visit her. They found the girl in bed, under a blanket. The friends got very scared. Can you tell why? Joy has covered the window with a blackout curtain, and the shape of her ears and teeth has changed. She's turning into a vampire. Lily decided to stay and take care of Joy. Meanwhile, Rhonda offered Lucy to visit her Aunt Vera. She ran a magic shop with different potions. When Vera heard about what happened to Joy, she said,
"Okay, I need 3 ingredients to cook a healing drink. Here's the first one. When it comes to me, you go when you see red and stop at green."
Can you guess the ingredient? It's watermelon. To get the second ingredient, Vera took Rhonda and Lucy to her cherry garden. Rhonda picked 8 cherries, Lucy picked 13, and Vera picked 14. How many apples did they collect together? Zero. Apples don't grow in cherry gardens. Vera gave Lucy and Rhonda a hint about the third ingredient. Here it is. Can you help them crack this rebus? It's mandragora. Mandragora grew near the spookiest house in town. Vera gave Lucy and Rhonda a task to find it and bring it to her store. While Rhonda was searching in the garden, Lucy decided to get a closer look at the house. She saw a sign with a weird name on it, Siomon Eprik. She went to the huge door and opened it quietly. After Lucy got inside, the door slammed shut behind her back. Tons of vampire bats rushed at her. Lucy started pulling on the door like crazy. Suddenly, she saw that there was something written on it. Change the order of letters in Siomon Eprik. She yelled the answer, and the door opened. What did the girl say? The real name of that place was Creepy Mansion. Rhonda found 3 root vegetables in the garden, but only one of them was mandragora. Can you figure out which veggie Rhonda should pick? Even if you've never seen a mandrake, you can eliminate the other plants. This is definitely a carrot, and this is a beet. So the remaining one must be the mandragora. Lucy and Rhonda prepared to leave the spooky house, but suddenly they stepped on a trap hidden in the grass and fell into a deep well. They looked around and found 3 tunnels leading to freedom. A fire-breathing dragon was waiting in the first tunnel. It was very angry and disliked people. There was a portal leading into a black hole in the second tunnel, and huge cacti were growing all over the third tunnel. Their juice was poisonous to any human. Which way should Lucy and Rhonda choose? The third one. Look, those cacti don't have any spines, and no one's gonna force the girls to drink cactus juice. Vera cooked the potion for Joy. Lucy and Rhonda took it to the girl's house, but when they entered her room, it was empty. Joy's parents said that Lily and Joy had left together. They were both acting very weird. Rhonda said, "Oh no, they've both turned into vampires. We've got to find them before it's too late." Can you help them find any clues in Joy's room? Look at her laptop. They seem to have bought train tickets to go to Las Vegas to visit Joy's granny. Lucy and Rhonda boarded the train. Besides them, there were 4 other people in the car. One of these passengers didn't have a ticket. Can you figure out who it is? This woman. She's the only one who's hiding her head behind the headrest of her seat so that the camera doesn't spot her. When the train was going through a tunnel, the lights went out and the passengers got very frightened. When the light turned on again, one of the passengers shouted,
Help me! Someone has stolen my bag!
Lucy immediately realized who had done this. What about you? Any ideas? Yeah, this guy. There's some makeup lying under his seat, and his window is open. He put the contents of the bag into his backpack, and then threw the bag out the window. Rhonda and Lucy got to Las Vegas and headed for the house where Joy's granny lived, but they kept coming to the wrong houses. In the first house, they met this old lady, and in the second, there was this one. Can you tell which elderly woman is dangerous? It's the second one. She's up to something, while the first one is just getting ready for a Halloween party. Finally, Lucy and Rhonda found the right house. The door was open. When they entered, they saw Joy's granny unconscious on the floor. She had a vampire bite on her neck. Suddenly, Joy and Lily popped out of nowhere. They had pale faces, sharp teeth, and pointy ears. They came closer and closer, ready to bite their friends. Suddenly, Rhonda began laughing and exclaimed, "Stop fooling around, it's just a prank." How did she know? The mirror reflects Joy, and Lily casts a shadow. They're not real vampires. It's just a Halloween prank.
It's early morning. Sam leaves the house and goes to the lake. The sun hasn't risen yet. The water is crystal clear. Frogs are croaking in the distance. Sam takes several photos of nature and one selfie. He posts the pictures and writes this caption: "I've had a great run. There is nothing better than a morning workout, my dear followers. Have a great day." After that, the guy returns home and goes back to bed. He sleeps until lunch and then takes his phone and sees hundreds of comments. "Ha ha ha, I wish I had such a run." Dude, why do you deceive us like that? Here it is, a real day of the champion. Obviously, people have found out that Sam didn't run in the morning. But how? He wrote that he had just had a run, but his face isn't red and he isn't sweaty at all. There are 4 different countries on one distant continent. Each of these countries has its own emblem with one simple symbol. The same number of people live in each of the countries, 9 ordinary citizens and 1 monster. 1 queen, 1 king, and 1 prince. 2 jesters sometimes drop by these kingdoms. What is this continent? It's a deck of cards. It contains 9 regular cards: ace, queen, king, jack, and joker. Once, on a cold winter evening, someone broke into a bakery. When the baker came to the building in the morning, he noticed that the lock was broken. He called the police and reported a break-in. Then he went inside and realized that the thief hadn't stolen anything. At that moment, the police arrived. The baker told him that the place hadn't been robbed, but a police officer inspected the room and declared that someone had still broken the law. What happened there? There are almost imperceptible footprints leading to the pantry. The thief must have hidden there to wait for the baker to receive the day's earnings. Mickey has been wandering in a desert for several hours. He's tired, thirsty, hungry, and sleepy. He notices a big house standing on the hot sand. Mickey goes inside and sees a massive block of ice in the center. Someone must have put it there for a reason. Mickey licks the ice, but it doesn't quench his thirst. He decides to wait. It takes a couple of seconds for 1 drop of water to evaporate in the desert, so the ice should melt soon. The guy leaves the building and goes for a walk. Several hours later, he returns to the house, but nothing has changed. The ice hasn't melted. How is this possible? There are air conditioners on the ceiling. They keep the temperature in the room low and prevent the ice from melting. Florence, Anya, and Margot are walking along the beach, telling one another about the past week. All the girls look wealthy and successful, but several people are taking photos of them. It means that at least one of these girls is a celebrity. But who? It's Anya. Look, that guy is wearing a t-shirt with her face on it. Marcus is leaving a large shopping mall. He pulls his phone out of the pocket and accidentally drops it. Oh no, the screen is cracked. Marcus gets into a taxi and goes to a phone repair service. He sees dozens of shops. Each of them offers its own services. Battery replacement, the best service in the city. Let's fix your microphone, and dozens of others. Help Marcus choose where to go. Do you see a small store with the "We can change the screen glass" sign? This is what Marcus needs. Somewhere at sea, a huge ship is traveling. People on the deck are having fun, speaking, drinking cocktails, eating delicious food, enjoying beautiful seascapes. This is a passenger liner. It doesn't have any secret mission. The passengers are ordinary people with ordinary jobs. They discuss the weather, new theater plays, music, books, and travel destinations. They all seem to be intelligent and educated. The strange thing is that no one takes any photos and posts them on the internet. Okay, the internet may not be working so far from the shore, but why don't they take selfies? Who said this cruise was taking place nowadays? It happened before the era of smartphones and the internet.
Emma Lynn is an archaeologist working in Africa. She has accidentally gotten stuck in a cave, and there are just 3 ways out. Her map shows that if she goes left, she'll come to a pond that pulls everything in. If she goes straight ahead, she'll run into dangerous dinosaurs that eat everything they see. If she goes right, she'll find herself very close to an erupting volcano. Which way is safe? The road leading ahead. Dinosaurs went extinct millions of years ago. It was Dana's birthday, and her best friends had prepared a gift for her. But first, the girl had to find it. They gave her a note with a hint. Do you know how Dana can read it? It looks as if the note doesn't make sense, but it does. The text is mirrored. That's why she can read it with the help of a mirror. Let's see. So it says, "Your present is in the laundry basket in the basement." Cheryl had to sneak into her dad's computer to delete some emails she had accidentally forwarded him. Her dad had memory problems, so luckily for Cheryl, he always left notes with his passcodes. And indeed, one of such notes was right on his desk. Cheryl typed in 6989. Unfortunately, this passcode was wrong. Can you figure out the correct one? The note was simply turned upside down. Cheryl should try 6869. Reese was on vacation in Cyprus. One day, he saw a beautiful woman and asked her out on a date. The woman said that she would go out with him, but only if he guessed her name. He said it was impossible, and she gave him a hint. The capital of Spain, the capital of Austria, the capital of Romania, and the capital of Australia. Can you help Reese figure out what the woman's name is? The capital refers to the capital letters of these countries' names. So, S, A, R, and A. The woman's name must be Sarah. Yvonne has 4 frogs: Dot, Hoppy, Yoda, and Aristotle. One of them is black and green, and 3 of them are black and blue. Find out which color each of them is if Dot and Hoppy are of the same color, Aristotle isn't black and green. If Dot and Hoppy are of the same color, then they must both be black and blue, since there's only one black and one green frog. If Aristotle isn't black and green, then it's black and blue too. So Yoda is black and green. Honor and Alea are identical twins. After they were born, Honor had her birthday 22 times, but Alea only had her birthday 5 times. How is it possible? They were born on a leap year. Honor was born late at night on February 28th, let's say at 11:59 p.m. And Alea was born a bit later, at 12:01 a.m. It was already February 29th, which only occurs once every 4 years. Now let's relax a bit and try to guess some movies. I'll show you some combinations of emojis, and your task is to guess the movie. Ready? Here's the first one. What's your guess? Of course, it's everyone's favorite, Edward Scissorhands. Okay, here's the next one. You must know it. It's The Devil Wears Prada. Can you guess this one? It's $1 Million Baby. Moving on. You just can't get it wrong. Obviously, it's Home Alone. There's no other story like this one. Can you guess this movie? This reverse transformation reminds me of The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I have a couple more for you. I love this movie. Do you know it? It's Interstellar. And how about this one? What's your guess? This one is I Am Legend. In the afternoon, Detective Callum went to a little restaurant for lunch. He was waiting for his order. He overheard a waiter and a client arguing. The waiter claimed that the woman had ordered a special breakfast set and was now refusing to pay. The woman said she'd only ordered a coffee. Detective Callum knew who was lying. Do you? It's afternoon. No one serves breakfast specials at this time, so the waiter was lying.
It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Bob was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the messages: 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the pill from the first envelope. 2. Take the pill from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the first envelope. Well, which capsule should Bob take? He should trust the pill from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. Timothy and Diana were strolling in a magic forest together when they ran into an evil witch. The witch captured Diana and took her to a haunted castle. Timothy managed to find the hidden castle and watched as the witch turned Diana into a frog. When the witch left the room, He snuck inside to turn Diana back into human form. He found a spell book that could help him and found out the recipe for the magic potion he had to make. He recognized most of the ingredients, but the last two were encrypted. Take a look at the witch's ingredient cabinet and try to help Timothy discover the last two ingredients he needs to make the magic potion. You got it! That's exactly what he needs. The day started busy in Fabertown. The police station got a call saying an undercover vampire was passing as a teacher at Middle Moon Elementary School. The officer went down there to check and found 3 possible suspects. Take a look at them and see if you can guess who the vampire is. It's the one in the middle. She's wearing sunglasses inside the cafeteria and drinking a very suspicious red drink. Yikes! Eric was coming home from a night out. As he reached the gate of his apartment, he heard the sound of someone bawling. He looked around, but no one was there. That's when he noticed something that scared him, and he shouted, "Ghosts! Ghosts! Someone help me!" Look at the image. Can you identify what Eric saw that scared him so much? The gate lamp isn't attached to the pole. It's floating in the air and somehow still shining bright. Well, this isn't right. Then Eric called his best friend, who also happened to be a renowned ghost hunter. That's convenient. His buddy Ray arrives, and his ghost watch immediately starts beeping. It leads them to the building's pool. At the pool, they see a girl swimming. Eric shouts, "Hey, why are you swimming in the pool so late at night? Here, let me help you get out." But Ray stops him, saying, "Don't do that." Why did Ray do it? Look at the pool. The girl is swimming, but there is no movement in the water. She must be a ghost. On the other side of town, Bobby is also ghost hunting. He called his friend Susan to visit the town's old creepy hotel and bust some ghosts. As they arrive, they find clear signs of ghost activity. It looked like that ghost had a sense of humor, though, and wanted to play hide and seek with them. The ghost led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with clues to where the ghost might be hiding. The sign on door A says, "It's behind B or C." The sign behind door B says, "It's behind A or D." Door C says, "It's in here." And door D claims, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet saying, 3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true. Can you guess which door led to the ghost? Let's see how this would work. If the ghost was behind door A, then both B and D would be true. But if it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D are all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the other doors were false, except for that on door B. This matched the rules, so it was behind door D. To get into the best Halloween party in town, Becky had to solve a difficult riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could you do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. By the time the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And by the time the 4-minute glass emptied again, There was 1 minute's worth of sand in the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there's 1 minute's worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Whew, that took some work. Jessica was on a trip to the desert when she got separated from her group. She noticed a sandstorm was coming her way. She had 3 options for what to do. She could try to run away from the sandstorm, she could hide behind a big rock, or she could try hiding in the desert's dry riverbed. Which one is Jessica's best option? Well, the first option is a terrible idea, as she will never run faster than a sandstorm. The riverbed is also not such a good idea, as it's too low and the sand from the storm can fill the entire hole in no time. Her best option would be to hide behind a big rock. After the storm passed, Jessica used the radio to send an SOS signal to the guide. The guide told her to sit tight. A rescue team would shortly be on its way to help her. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams came to help Jessica. She got suspicious and asked all the teams who had sent them. The first team said that they had heard the news on the radio that a woman was lost in the desert and came quickly to aid her. The second team said that the hotel she was staying in called the police for help. The last team said they received a radio call saying a woman was in distress and quickly came to help. Which rescue team should she trust? The last team. Jessica sent a message to her guide as soon as the storm was over, remember? Look at the picture attentively. Can you say who didn't help to build the doghouse? Yep, it's the man on the right. He's holding a brick, but the doghouse is made of wood. Sarah was a popular guitar player in a rock band. On Friday, the band was going to have a big gig. Sarah's bandmates were waiting for her, but the girl was very late. Eventually, she did show up, but it wasn't Sarah. It was her twin sister, Alice. She was envious of Sarah, so she locked her sister in a room, took her clothes and the guitar, and pretended to be a band member. But as soon as the musicians saw fake Sarah, they immediately knew she wasn't their bandmate. How did they understand? Look at how long the girl's nails are. But you need to have short nails to play the guitar. A man came to a fruit market to sell watermelons. After he sold half of them and half of a watermelon, he saw he had 1 watermelon left. How many watermelons did he bring to the market? He came there with 3 watermelons. Cheryl ran into the house, extremely worried. "I set off as soon as I heard the news," she told the police officer. "I was at my parents' house in another town. I left a week ago and was supposed to stay there for at least 10 more days. What's happened to my husband?" "Somebody hit Mr. Brown on the head. He was taken to a hospital, but he's going to be okay. I've been questioning the suspects." Mr. Brown's secretary said, "He sent me to his business partner earlier in the morning. Some important documents needed signatures." The cook said, "I haven't left the kitchen today. Mr. Brown wanted me to prepare a meal for the whole family." The housekeeper said, "I didn't hear anything. I was doing some household chores all day long. After that, I was so tired, I decided to take a nap." The detective realized who the culprit was in no time. Who was it? It was the cook. Mrs. Brown's wife was out of town. There was no need to cook a lot all day long. Olivia was running a marathon. Right before the finish line, she did her best and outran the person who was running in second place. The woman was happy. She was going to win. But in a few seconds, she got very disappointed. Why? Olivia was in second place. She was faster than the person in the second place, but not the first. Look at this image attentively. Can you guess which person is a ghost? Look at the woman on the right. She has no legs and is just floating through the air. Amanda loved dogs very much. One day, she was walking in the park and saw a lovely corgi. The dog was friendly, and Amanda even petted the animal. Soon, the pooch's owner appeared, and the girl asked him how old the dog was. Well, in 2 years, Luna will be twice as old as she was 5 years ago. Amanda nodded and continued her walk. And did you understand how old the dog was? Luna is 12 years old. Liza worked as a teaching assistant at a college. That day, she had to look after a group of students who were writing an exam. Lisa knew some of them were going to cheat, and indeed, soon after the exam started, the girls spotted one person who was cheating. Who was it? It's the guy in the back of the classroom. He's got the answers written on his arm. Jacob wakes up locked in a basement. He has no idea how it happened or who is behind this. Near his bed, he finds a note. 2 + 2 = fish. 3 + 3 = 8. 7 + 7 = triangle. Explain this and you'll be free. Can you help Jacob get out of the basement? Stack the first number and the second one that is flipped backwards, and you'll get a fish, number 8, and a triangle. 2 guards were looking in different directions. One had to make sure there was no danger coming from the west. The other was turned toward the east. At one point, one of the guards asked the other, "Why are you smiling?" But how could he know his companion was smiling? The men were indeed looking in the opposite directions, but they weren't standing back to back. They were facing each other. Brian was walking down the stairs when his foot slipped and he tumbled. When the guy came to his senses, he discovered he was mostly unharmed, but he couldn't remember anything. Suddenly, 2 women entered the house. They looked exactly the same. When they found out what had happened, each of them started to claim Brian was her husband. Can you help the guy understand which one is his real wife? It's Rachel. She has a tattoo on the same arm as the girl in the wedding photo. Oliver was sailing his yacht when a storm started. The yacht sank in the middle of the ocean. After swimming for hours, the guy finally reached a deserted island. He saw several men there. They told Oliver they would keep him locked in one of the caves on the island. Oliver agreed, but asked them to grant him one last wish. When he told the men what this wish was, they set him free. Why? He said, "I want the smartest of you to lock me there. Oh, by the way, you get extra points if you caught my error in the description. An island with several men on it is not deserted." One of Kenneth's professors at university had an unconventional way of grading his students. On Wednesday, Kenneth and his friends had to write a test, but their professor gave each of them a picture. "You need to figure out how many people there are in this image. Those of you who will come up with the correct answer won't need to write the test." Can you help Kenneth figure out the right number of people? There are 6 people in the picture. 5 of them are visitors, and one more person is looking through a peephole in the painting on the right. Emily was walking in the park when she saw 2 teenagers sitting on a bench. They were arguing who should pay for riding an electric scooter. Each of them claimed it was the other one who used the scooter. Emily didn't need much time to understand who had to pay. Can you figure it out too? Look at the footprints. The girl was the one to ride the electric scooter. Dennis is taking part in a competition. If his last answer is correct, he'll get a prize, an expensive watch. But first, he needs to figure out which of these two watches is real and which is just a toy. The watch on the left is a toy. Look at its minute hand. It's too long and won't be able to pass all the way around the watch face. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson wanted to celebrate their wedding anniversary. They were going to organize an extravagant party and invite hundreds of guests. But Mrs. Anderson was worried about all the expensive stuff they had at their villa. The couple decided to invite a detective to look after the guests. And indeed, in the middle of the party, the detective noticed a thief. Look at the people gathered in the garden and try to spot the criminal. It's the guy on the left. He's trying to steal a woman's bracelet. Look at the picture attentively. What is the missing number? It's 4. All these numbers indicate how many times the lines cross in each case. There are 100 books on a shelf. To count off 10 of them, you'll need 10 seconds. So, how much time will you spend counting off 70 books? Just 30 seconds. You need this time to count off 30 books, and the rest will make 70. One morning, Donna came to the office and found a box of chocolates on her desk. There was also a strange note. October 7th, May 3rd, August 1st, January 3rd. Can you help Donna understand who presented her the sweets? Her secret admirer is Ryan. Those are not dates. The number actually means the needed letter in the name of the month. Mark was going to an important business meeting. He was running a bit late. That's why he was driving fast. Unfortunately, the man got into a car accident. Both he and the other driver were okay, but the cars were badly damaged. Mark called the police. When they arrived, Mark explained the situation. I was driving fast, but I wasn't breaking any rules. Suddenly, a car pulled out in front of me. I didn't have enough time to brake. The other driver exclaimed, "This whole accident is your fault. I was driving slowly, talking to my wife about our weekend plans, and then you appeared out of nowhere." The police officers immediately understood who was responsible for the accident. Do you know it? It was the other driver. He was alone in his car. It means he was talking to his wife on the phone, which is illegal. Detective Mitchell was following a bank robber. But after the criminal turned the corner, he seemed to vanish into thin air. After wandering around for a while, the detective came across a small park with a lake. Right on the shore, there were several marble statues. The man was about to pass by when something drew his attention. He realized where the criminal was. Can you figure it out? One of the statues is looking at its watch. It's the bank robber. James escaped from prison and ran to the countryside. Suddenly, on a small dark road, he saw a police car heading in his direction. James ran toward the car for some time, then jumped off the road and rushed into the woods. Why did he run toward the car first? James was in the middle of a bridge when he saw the car. He had to run toward the vehicle to get off of the bridge. Okay, listen to me very carefully, my friend. Here's the deal. First, to steal the diamond, you need to get to a remote island. It doesn't exist on any map, and it's forbidden for ordinary people to be there. The diamond is in the heart of this place, inside a well-guarded deep underground bunker. It's impossible to get there through the main entrance. But lucky you, there's also a secret jail on the island. You can get there as a prisoner and then escape through the underground tunnel. That tunnel will lead you into the bunker. Then you should find the diamond. You'll have very little time for the whole operation. When you're done, a boat will be waiting for you in the southern part of the island. Do everything correctly and follow the plan, and then you'll encounter no problems. Got it? All right, let's go. You and other prisoners get into a helicopter and fly to the island. You're handcuffed. At one moment, the helicopter begins to shake. The pilot says you're falling. He puts on a parachute and jumps out of the helicopter. Take a look around and decide what to do next. Faster! You see the keys to your handcuffs hanging near the cabin. Then you get rid of the handcuffs. The prisoners ask you to release them too. But be careful, these people are dangerous. All three of them say they know how to fly a helicopter. Who will you believe? That guy with a tattoo with a helicopter on his leg. Maybe he's a good pilot. You remove his handcuffs and he admits he has lied. None of these people knows how to fly a helicopter. There's only one parachute left. The prisoner pushes you to the side, grabs the parachute, and jumps out of the falling helicopter. You decide to release the other prisoners too. What will you do next? Jump without a parachute? Try to land the helicopter on your own? The helicopter's pilot abandoned the vehicle because the landing was impossible. So you will not succeed either. You need to jump. You have been flying over the ocean, remember? Also, the helicopter is falling, so the height isn't that great. You jump into the water and swim toward the shore. Suddenly, you notice a shark's fin. It's quickly approaching you. What are you going to do? A. Try to swim to the shore as fast as possible. B. Don't swim anywhere and just float in the water. C. Dive and start waving your hands to scare the shark away. You need to stop. If you start swimming away, the shark will begin chasing you. Breathe in a lot of air and try not to make unnecessary movements. The shark will leave soon. But if it attacks, you'll have to attack back. Its gills and eyes are the animal's weak spots. Fortunately, the shark doesn't charge at you. It swims away, and you get to the shore safely. The island's guards are running out of the jungle. One of the prisoners who was with you in the helicopter is hiding in the bushes and invites you to join him. Where will you go? Let the guards catch you and take you to jail. Don't forget about your mission. They dress you in a yellow shirt and lead you away. You see many dangerous people. You're sitting at the table having lunch. There are 3 prisoners in front of you. One of them is going to escape. But who? That man with a book. A metal file serves him as a bookmark. Today, he will also try to escape. The underground tunnel leading from the prison to the bunker is located under the laundry room. You need to get out of your cell and get there. To do this, you have to get the metal file and pick the lock. Everyone goes out into the courtyard for a walk. You're following the man with the book. He sits down on the bench and hides the book under the seat. You need to distract him and get your hands on the book. You can use a basketball, dumbbells, or playing cards. What will you do? You can offer to work out with the dumbbells or play cards, but it will be difficult for you to get out of his sight. Start playing basketball. Throw the ball far away. The prisoner will run after it. Meanwhile, you'll take the book. So you grab the book but find no file inside. Instead of this, you find some money. It seems this guy has sold the tool to one of the other prisoners. You put the money in your pocket and look around the yard. Which of the prisoners can have the metal file? That guy is pressing his fingers to the sleeve of his shirt. Apparently, he's hiding the tool there. You're about to approach him, but one of the prisoners starts a fight. The guards are trying to prevent a riot. In all this chaos, someone hits you on the head and you lose consciousness. You wake up in a hospital ward. Oh no! You have almost no time left. The doors are locked. Several security guards are walking around. How can you get into the laundry room? In the corner, there's a huge cart with dirty laundry. Hide in there, and they'll take you to where you need to go. You hide among the dirty sheets. The cleaner takes the cart and transports you to the laundry room. He throws the linen into the washing machine and notices you. The cleaner is going to scream and call the guards. What will you do? You have some money, remember? You can pay for his silence. You move one of the washing machines and find a hatch under it. You climb inside and walk through the tunnel. It's very cold, wet, and dark here. Finally, you reach a small room. There are no windows and doors, only brick walls. What will you do? You can't go back. Among all these bricks, there's one sticking out of the wall. Try to push it. It worked. A secret door opens, and you step inside. You go down and find yourself in front of another iron door. You notice an oxygen tank with a mask lying nearby. You open the door and find yourself in an airlock room between two iron doors. One of the doors closes behind you. All the oxygen gets pumped out. You can't breathe, so you put on the mask. The second iron door opens, and you go inside. You see 3 tunnels. The first tunnel is filled with moving axes, blades, and other traps. High-voltage electric discharges flicker in the second tunnel. The third tunnel is burning with a bright flame. One of the threats is an illusion. Which tunnel will you choose? There's no air in the room, which means fire can't burn here. The flame is a hologram. You move on and find yourself in front of a dark room. It's so dark you can't see what's inside. It seems to you that the diamond is there. Stop. What is this diamond? Who gave you this mission? What are you doing here? What's happening? At this moment, some unknown force pushes you forward. You step into the black void and fall. You find yourself floating in outer space. It's so cold and scary here. You feel tiny in the boundless universe. Suddenly, you see something shining. Is it a star or an asteroid? A bright light illuminates the black space around you. Good job, a heavy voice says. You reach out your hand and touch the light. At this moment, at a great speed, you start flying back through space and time. You're falling fast and land in a dirty room. Frightened, you get up and open the door. Oh, yes, sunlight. You finally get out of the bunker and find yourself on the island. There are 2 paths in front of you. One leads to the south, the other to the north. Which one will you choose? The boat is supposed to be waiting for you in the south, remember? You go through the jungle and find an old car. You start the engine and grab an MP3 player with headphones from the glove compartment. You drive along the road listening to music when you realize the brakes don't work. There are 3 ways ahead. A brick wall is waiting for you at the end of the first road. The second one leads to a swamp, and the third leads to a high hill with a cliff. Where are you going to drive? There's almost no time. Release the gas pedal and drive up the hill. The car will start slowing down, and soon you'll be able to get out of it. Once, a prison guard accidentally overheard very disturbing rumors. Someone was planning a prison break. The guard watched all the footage from the surveillance cameras and discovered that 2 women had been behaving suspiciously. One of them was a former bodybuilder, muscular, with short hair, and covered in tattoos. The other was quiet and reserved. She preferred to spend time on her own and sometimes cried in her cell. After watching the video several times, the guard figured out which woman was planning to escape. Can you do the same? It's the second prisoner. There's a file in her bun. She can use it to get through the metal bars. Mark comes up to the table. There are 3 apples, but only one of them is safe to eat. The other 2 are poisonous. Unfortunately, Mark can't skip breakfast. So, which apple should he eat? Look, this apple has a caterpillar in it. It means there's no poison in the fruit and it's safe to eat. These 3 women, Jessica, Mary, and Olivia, went shopping. 2 of them are pregnant and one is just trying to steal a watermelon. Can you tell which one is hiding a watermelon? It's Olivia. She's wearing heels. It's not the kind of shoes a pregnant woman would choose to wear. Nathan, a successful entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar business, and his friend Jackson, a famous private detective, returned from a long-term trip abroad. They decided to stop by at Nathan's villa on the way to the city. When the men entered the house, though, they saw that everything more or less valuable had been taken away. The entire villa was a mess. "I've only been away for a month. What happened here?" exclaimed Nathan. Jackson took an apple from the dining room table and started to munch on it thoroughly. "The lock isn't broken. It means the person who took your stuff had the key." After a while, the detective asked Nathan to invite 3 people. Mia, Nathan's niece, told Jackson she hadn't visited her uncle's home. She had been having serious problems with her car for already 2 months. And the villa was too far away from the city to get there by public transport. Sarah, the maid, claimed that she had stopped by several weeks ago to bring some food and tidy up, but since then she hadn't been to the villa. Adam, the gardener, told the detective he had been on vacation and had just returned. He even offered to show his plane tickets to Jackson. The detective figured out immediately who was behind the mess. You have 8 seconds to figure it out. It was the maid. She said she brought food several weeks ago, but the apple Jackson grabbed from the table was perfectly fresh. Once, Ms. White heard someone crying. It was her little student, Abigail. The girl told the teacher her cookies had been disappearing from her locker. Someone had been taking them for already several weeks, but Abigail didn't know who. Ms. White decided to help the girl. They equipped the locker with a simple alarm that had to go off if someone who wasn't Abigail opened the door. They hid behind the corner and began waiting. In 10 minutes, they heard the alarm. When they reached the locker, it was already empty and there was no one nearby. But Ms. White noticed somebody disappear behind the art room door. She rushed inside, but everything looked normal. And still, the teacher needed no more than a minute to understand who'd been eating Abigail's cookies. Look at the picture of the art room carefully. Can you find out the answer within 8 seconds? It's the girl on the left. Her painting's black and white, but there are only various shades of blue on her palette. And maybe the cookie crumbs are a giveaway too. I don't know. One perfume company hires new staff. They must swear an oath of loyalty to the company if they want to get a job. 10 people are saying the words of the corporate oath simultaneously, but some of them are cheating. Help the directors figure out who these people are. This guy keeps his fingers crossed, and the man on the left is standing with his legs crossed. They won't be loyal to the company, so the director doesn't hire them. Two influential media moguls are having lunch at an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the merger of their companies. The transaction amount is several $billion. They're whispering since the terms of this deal are top secret, and they suspect that someone can hear them. And they're right. Some curious people are eavesdropping on the conversation between the two businessmen. Try to find them. The girl at the next table is reading a newspaper that is turned upside down. She's obviously trying to overhear what the billionaires are talking about. This guy over there is listening to music, but the headphone wire is not connected to anything. Another girl is sitting at the table in the corner with a cocktail, but instead of an umbrella, there's an antenna in her glass. She's recording the conversation. "Where are my employees?" a boss shouts. He's furious because 3 people haven't come to the office. He calls each of them to find out the reason. All 3 tell him they got ill. The boss doesn't believe them, so they have to arrive at the office. Mary is wearing a warm jacket, hat, and scarf. She sneezes, coughs, and looks sick. Lori is walking on crutches. Her leg is in a cast. Sometime later, Michael appears. He's got a hand injury, and now he can't type. The boss is sure that one of them is faking. Who is it? Mike's left arm is broken, but his phone is in his left pocket. He must have used his broken arm to put it there, which means he's pretending. Apparently, he just didn't want to come to work. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate. Mia was going back home one evening. It was 11 p.m., and she had to cross a small dark park in front of her house. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind. Someone grabbed her bag and ran away. The girl called the police, and they questioned 4 suspects. Jack said, "I was choosing an outfit for a party." Camilla was getting ready for her final exam at home. Andrew told the police he had been watching birds in the park. Nora was at her yoga class. After the interview, the police understood who was behind the robbery. Can you? It was Andrew. At 11 p.m., it's too dark to see birds. Molly and her colleague Mike were going home after work late at night. Suddenly, they saw their boss, Alina, talking to bats. They snuck in closer and hid behind a bush. Alina looked like a vampire and laughed like a freak. Next morning, Molly and Mike decided to check whether Alina was a human or a monster. It was her birthday, so they brought her 2 bouquets of flowers. But Alina accepted only one of them. This was when the guys learned for sure that Alina was a real vampire. How did they know? They hid garlic in the second bouquet. Alina invited all her colleagues to her birthday party. Molly didn't want to come alone, so she uploaded a dating app, hoping to meet someone special.
Oh no!
Here are several pictures of nice guys, but one of them lives with his girlfriend. Can you tell who? It's this one. There's a pair of high heels and a dress in his closet. Alina asked Molly to arrive earlier to help her prepare for the party. Molly was cooking snacks in the kitchen when she heard a scream. She ran into Alina's room and saw her crying on the bed. Someone ruined her party dress while she was taking a shower. Molly interrogated 3 suspects. Kim, the cleaning lady, said, "It's not my job to take care of Alina's clothes. I was cleaning the house all day." Sam, the gardener, said, "I've been hanging string lights and decorating the garden for the party. I haven't even entered the house yet." And Alina's sister, Lily, said, "I didn't touch it. But anyways, this dress didn't suit Alina at all. Purple is my color. Everyone in this family knows that." So, who ruined the dress? Sam. Look, the string lights are still in the box. At the party, Molly saw Mike with a mysterious lady. The lady was wearing a hoodie and standing with her back turned to Molly. So, Molly couldn't see her face. Mike and the lady hid from everyone in Alina's library. Later that night, Molly entered the library too, but it was empty. After checking the room, Molly knew for sure which of these 3 ladies was Mike's secret girlfriend. How did she know? The second lady is wearing only 1 earring. She lost the second one in Alina's library, and Molly found it on the carpet. Alina called the police early in the morning. Officers arrived at her place and questioned her. She said, "My husband and I had a romantic dinner last night, but at some point we had an argument. Then he felt sick. At least he said so, but I didn't believe him. He always tends to exaggerate things. So I slammed the door shut and left. I came back home in the morning and saw him unconscious on the floor. I don't know what happened to him." The officers immediately arrested Alina. Why? If the candles had been burning all night long, they would have burned out by now. Molly had a school friend. Her name was Sarah. One day, they went on a picnic with their families. Sarah's mother was very eccentric. She had pink hair and always wore glitter. And she took her pet iguana, Tom, everywhere she went. She also has 3 daughters. The oldest daughter's name was Monday, and her middle daughter was called Tuesday. Can you guess her youngest daughter's name? This is Sarah's mom, so it's pretty obvious that her youngest daughter's name is Sarah, right? Rick had a job interview at the hospital. He had been dreaming of becoming a vet all his life. Molly liked his resume, so she decided to test his logical thinking with one final riddle. She gave him this list of months and asked just one question. Which month comes next? Can you help Rick out? It's September. The months on this list go from those with the least number of letters to those with the most. It's time to groom the animals. Molly hired a group of talented groomers. 2 groomers can groom 2 animals in 2 hours. In this case, how many animals would 4 people groom in 4 hours? Your first instinct was probably to say 4 animals. But in fact, the correct answer is 8. And it makes sense, because 4 groomers would groom 4 animals in 2 hours. And in 4 hours, this number will double. I'm something people love or hate. I change people's appearances and thoughts. If a person takes care of themselves, I will go up even higher. I can fool some people. To others, I'm a mystery. Some people might want to try and hide me, but I will still show. No matter how hard people try, I will never go down. What am I? Have you guessed? The correct answer is age. One of these 3 people is left-handed. Can you guess who? It's the waiter. It's easier for lefties to hold a tray in their right hand and serve dishes and drinks with their left hand.
It turns out that before leaving, your detective friend gave your contacts to all his acquaintances. And now, one of them needs your help. You arrive at his jewelry store. A client came there several hours ago, planning to buy an expensive diamond ring for his wife. But someone stole his wallet right in the store. The manager, he was the one to call you, asked all the visitors who were inside at that time to stay until your arrival. You look at all these people attentively. Soon you know who took the wallet. It's the man in the middle. He has a bandage on his right arm, but it's wrapped over the sleeve of his jacket, not hidden under it, like a real bandage would be. You knock on a sturdy brown door, while a woman with a bandage on her head stands next to you. A man opens the door. "Excuse me," you say. "A pot plant fell out of your window an hour ago and hit this woman on her head. I had to take her to the hospital. She's okay now, but you need to compensate this woman for the damage. May we come in?" The man turns pale, but lets you in.
It can't be true. Our windows were closed because we've just returned home. I literally entered my apartment 2 minutes before you came.
You realize this man is lying and call the police. How did you figure it out? You spotted a pan with boiling water in the kitchen. If the man had indeed come home just a few minutes ago, the water wouldn't have had enough time to start boiling. Now, it's your friend who needs help. She owns a grocery store. A gust of wind blew a $100 bill out of her hands, and the money seems to have vanished into thin air. Your friend thinks it was one of the customers who took the bill, but no one wants to admit stealing the money. You ask all visitors to go to your friend's office when a woman speaks up.
It's incredible to be accused of theft. Here, you can check my bags right now.
"Please, just come with me to the office. We'll figure it out there," you say. After the woman refuses to follow you, you call the police. Why? The woman is standing on the $100 bill. If she follows you, everyone will see the money. The next morning, rainy and gloomy, you get your next case. To investigate it, you need to visit the office of a large international company. Rebecca, the girl who called you, works there. She says, "I've just come back from brunch and discovered that someone had knocked our HR manager out just an hour ago." You question the people who were in the office at that time. Laura is an applicant. She says she was a bit angry with the HR manager. He made her wait well past her appointment time.
"And still," the girl says, "I would never hit another person. I'm also too weak to do it."
Gary, who works in the marketing department, claims he hasn't seen the HR manager since he arrived at work. He was in a meeting from the very morning till lunchtime. Jacob from Research and Development tells you he rode his bike to a coffee shop to get his cappuccino. He's just come back. You immediately realize who hit the HR manager. It was Jacob. Both his bike and his clothes are dry and clean. How is that possible if it's raining outside? You leave Rebecca's office and hear your phone beeping. You see a text with an address you don't know. You drive there. A man meets you at the door of a large building. He's shaking. When you enter a large dark hall, you see 2 containers filled with transparent liquid. 2 women are floating inside. They look identical. "One of them is my wife, but I can't figure out which one, and I'm allowed to open only 1 container." You walk around the women and examine them. Then you point at one of them. That's your wife. How did you figure it out? The man's name is Mark. It's written on his biker jacket. His wife is the woman with the letter M tattooed on her arm. Your phone beeps again. You look at it and see a message. It's from your detective friend. There's just one word on the screen. Help! But that's already another story.
Hey, ready for some Valentine's Day riddles? Look at these 3 guys. Which of them is going on a date tonight?
Hello.
It must be this one. He has a little wrapped present, probably for his date. Now let's peek inside a restaurant. Which of the 3 girls is on a date? It's this one. Look, there are roses and 2 sets of dishes on the table. So she's not alone, and it's something romantic. My money is on her. This is Allison, and one of these 3 young men is her boyfriend. Can you tell who? It's this one. Look, they have matching tattoos. Take a look at these 2 proposals. Which one of them is fake? This one. Look, the guy has a ring. He's clearly already married. It was Friday evening, and Mark was waiting for his girlfriend to get back from work. He prepared dinner and was about to propose. His girlfriend came back home with flowers. Do you think she was on a date with someone? No, she wasn't. Look outside. The same flowers grow in their garden. She just picked some before entering the house. On Valentine's Day, Annika found a love note on her desk. Unfortunately, the note wasn't signed, but she had 3 suspects. So she asked each of them if they had written her a note. Dylan said, "I was busy finishing my math homework before class." Connor said, "I was hanging out with my buddies outside." And Luke said, "I was in the bathroom and I just returned." Who wrote Annika the letter? It was Luke. Look, his hands are covered in red ink. That's the color used in the letter. Also, if he had really been to the bathroom, his hands would be clean. On Valentine's Day, Jess found a note in her locker. But the note was weird. It was just a sequence of random letters. Or was it some code? Can you help Jess read the note and figure out who sent it to her? Of course it's a code. Look, there are 5 groups of letters, with 5 letters in each group. Let's put them into a 5x5 table. And now, we need to read this vertically, column by column. Will you go out with me, Colton? So where's that Colton? Michelle was hosting a Valentine's Day party. She invited all her school friends, and everyone was allowed to bring a +1. Either their significant other or a single friend. In the middle of the party, she noticed that her cousin was in the garden talking to some girl, but it was dark and she couldn't tell which girl it was. She just saw that the girl had long hair. When her cousin returned, she knew immediately who he was interested in. Here are 3 girls with long hair. Who was outside with Michelle's cousin? Look, Michelle's cousin has a lipstick stain. The girl must have left it, and this girl right here is wearing lipstick of the same shade. On a cold, rainy night, Damon was driving past a bus stop. There were 3 people there waiting for their bus. An elderly lady who looked sick, a doctor who had saved many lives, and Addison, a girl Damon had a crush on for years. Unfortunately, there was only room for 1 more person in his car. What should Damon do? He should give his car to the doctor, who would then take the lady to the hospital. And Damon can stay at the bus stop waiting for the bus with the girl of his dreams. Looking like a hero in her eyes.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break now. Have you seen any romantic movies? Well, I hope so, because I'll be showing you some emojis, and your task will be to guess what romantic movie they stand for. Okay, here's the first very easy one. Of course, that's Titanic. Here's the next one. Nothing much, but it should be clear. Do you know this movie? It's The Notebook. What about this one? A relatively recent remake was a great success. Can you recognize it? It's A Star is Born. Here's the next one. Do you think you can guess it right? It's Before Sunrise. The next set of emojis illustrates another very well-known love story. Can you guess it right? It's La La Land, of course. Here's the last one. It's an oldie but a goodie. What do you think? Everyone's favorite, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey. It was Valentine's Day, and Nicole wanted to put a little present in the locker of the student she had a crush on. Unfortunately, she didn't know the code. Luckily for her, the owner of the locker was forgetful too, so there was a note with a hint. Can you figure out the combination? Each number is the number of lines in the respective letter. There is just one line in I, 4 lines in M, 3 in H, and 2 in T. So, following the same logic, there are 4 lines in E, 2 in L, 2 in V, and 3 in Z. So the combination is 4, 2, 2, 3. Okay, here's another code for you to crack. This time, you need to help Eric. He wants to get his wife a nice Valentine's Day gift, but he is absolutely clueless about what she wants. So, the plan is to break into her computer, check her shopping cart, and get something from there. The problem is that the computer requires a passcode, and the man doesn't know it. Luckily, there's a note on the desk, so he types in 6198. But the passcode is wrong. Can you figure out what the correct passcode is? The note is just turned upside down. Eric should try typing in 8619 instead. Kennedy works in the emergency room. It's Valentine's Day and there's a patient who felt unwell during a college party. Kennedy leaves the room because she needs to talk to the patient's girlfriend. She was at the party with him. Which young woman should she approach? Who is the guy's date? Keep in mind that the couple was at a party, so they must be dressed nicely. The patient's date is most likely this woman in a pretty dress. Now, let's do some exercises to train your eyes. Here's a bunch of hearts. Can you find one broken heart? Yes, here it is. Good job. The task is similar, but not quite. Now there are many hearts and a few broken hearts. How many broken hearts are there? There are 5 broken hearts here. Have you found them all? Kelsey came to an antique store to get some presents for her boyfriend for Valentine's Day. She needed a baseball cap for him, an antique pocket watch, and a toy car from the 1920s. Can you help her find all these items for her boyfriend? Here's the cap, here's the watch, and here's the car. Have you spotted them all? Mark, the boyfriend, is getting presents for Kelsey in the same antique store. He needs to find a pretty cup, an antique mirror, and a beautiful photo album. He needs some help too, so keep your eyes wide open. Do you see all these items? Here they all are. 1, 2, and 3. Great job! It's a Valentine's Day party, and Melody, the most popular girl in school, is hosting it. 4 best friends are standing together, and one of them is Melody's boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
You ask them who the boyfriend is, and here's what they say. The first guy says, "The fourth one is the boyfriend." The second guy says, "It's me." The third one claims, "No, it's the first guy." And the fourth one says, "No, it's actually me." If only the boyfriend tells the truth and the other guys lie, who is Melody's boyfriend? Only the boyfriend tells the truth, so he will say, "I'm the boyfriend." So it's either the second guy or the fourth one. But if the boyfriend is the fourth guy, then the first one is telling the truth too. So Melody's boyfriend is the second guy. Detective James's vacation got cut short when a millionaire hotel guest was found unconscious, still holding a glass. Someone was behind it, and 3 housekeepers were suspects. Maggie wore rubber gloves. Eddie carried laundry, and Gigi held a broom. So, who did it? Look closely. Eddie's laundry includes a white sheet with a stain, probably from the orange juice the guest was drinking right before passing out. He must have put poison inside the victim's drink. James heads to the pool to relax, but when he gets there, he's shocked. A guy is drowning, and the detective is sure somebody tried to end his life. Can you figure out what happened? Take a close look at the stuff left near the pool. There's a single shoe here, but where's the other one? That suggests that this man got pushed into the pool really fast, and the person who did it probably knew he didn't know how to swim. A guest is now begging James for help, saying her wallet was stolen. The detective then asks to check the security cameras at the last 2 places she visited to figure out who the suspect was. Suddenly, he says she can rest easily. But why? In this footage, we can see that her wallet is under the table of the restaurant. She must have gotten up at some point and dropped it. Hopefully, a waiter picked it up for her. The vacay is over, and it's time for the detective to check out. The woman working in the lobby asks, "What's your room number, sir?" James decides to put his detective skills to the test with a riddle. He says his room number is a 2-digit number where the sum of the digits is 12. The difference between them is 6, and the larger digit comes first. After thinking for a bit, she answers, 93. Well done. James lands at the airport, and it's time for the security check. They ask him to take out any electronics and liquids from his bag. He pulls out his toiletry bag and his laptop. But when it's his turn to go through the x-ray, his suitcase still gets flagged. Why? Remember how they asked him to take out all the electronics? But look, there's still an iPad in there. Once James gets to his destination, he overhears a suspicious guy talking on the phone. The guy says he's got stolen diamonds in a Chanel bag. The detective rushes to the baggage claim to hand things over to the police, but there are 4 brand-name bags sitting there. Only one is from Chanel. Can you guess which one? Here's a hint. Look for the first letter of the brand's name. Yep, bag number 3 has the real Chanel logo. James is finally home, and his neighbor is freaking out. She says she just got back from a work trip and her husband is missing. There's no sign of forced entry, but on the porch, there's a table with 2 half-full glasses of water. She's with a friend and the gardener's about to leave. The police think at least one of them might be involved, but who? Let's see. One of the glasses is definitely hers because she's wearing red lipstick. The second glass means she was with someone before telling James her husband was gone. The gardener's off the hook because his dirty clothes show he was just working. So that leaves her friend. Looks like he's her lover and they plan to get rid of her husband. A jewelry store robbery really shakes up the city. The cops catch 2 guys right outside the store. Both are wearing backpacks and each one say they were just walking by. James needs your help to figure out who the real thief is. This guy might look like a businessman, but he's the real thief. If you look closely, you can see a little bit of stolen jewelry peeking out through a small tear in his backpack. Now, an art gallery owner asks for James's help. He's convinced one of his employees swapped his most valuable painting with a fake one. He shows James a picture of the real artwork. Can you spot 3 differences between the fake one and the real one? Here they are. Nice job. In a quiet antique shop, a rare emerald brooch goes missing. The only people there at the time were an elderly lady and a young woman. Detective James is convinced one of them is the thief. But who? Take a closer look at their faces to figure it out. Turns out, the old woman is actually a thief in disguise, wearing a super realistic mask. The seam on her neck gives her away, and the shawl is just there to throw off suspicion. James heads to the circus to unwind, but the magician suddenly stops the show. His rare gold pocket watch has gone missing from his dressing room. James checks the room but can't find any obvious spots where it could be hidden. Can you figure out where the missing watch is? You can only see the tip of it, but the watch is actually tucked inside the magician's hat. Turns out, it's not a crime at all, just a very forgetful guy. But things in this circus are getting scarier. Now the clown was found lifeless in his dressing room. And there was a note on his desk that said, "If anything happens to me, look for," and then he listed a bunch of words that seem random. James knows the message is coded and that the words on the odd lines are just filler. Can you figure out who the detective should be looking for? Let's cross out juggler, trapeze, and acrobat. That leaves us with the prime suspect, the makeup artist. The detective gets invited to this fancy gala. Everything's going fine until the big chandelier just falls and crashes to the floor. Luckily, no one was standing under it, but James has a hunch that someone might be behind it. Can you guess who? The wires were cut from above. Even though the floor is packed with people, only one man is trying to make a run for it. Look, you can actually see his leg trying to sneak through the emergency exit. James walks into his house, only to find a riddle written on his walls. The more you have of me, the less you see. What am I? Do you know the answer? The answer is darkness, says James. But as soon as the detective says it out loud, his lights are suddenly switched off. James's living room is now super dark, and he needs your help to switch on the lights. But only one lamp is working. Do you know which one? The wiring of lamp number 2 is all tangled up, so the cable may be broken. Bulb number 3 is burnt out. In number 4, the switch is already on, but the light is still off, meaning it's also not working. Lamp number 1 is the correct choice. The detective rushes upstairs to figure out who's behind all this and finds his wife chained to a chair on the second floor. To free her, he needs to crack the 3-digit code from the padlock. There's a clue left for him. The 3 numbers refer to your favorite secret agent. His spy name is James because he was inspired by none other than the famous movie character James Bond. And what is Bond's most famous code number? 007. Those are the 3 digits we're looking for. Now that she's free, James's wife points to the table, saying the dinner's ready. She looks nervous, so the detective immediately senses that something's off. This must be the work of the suspect inside his house. There are 4 plates on the table, but only one is safe to eat. Keep in mind that James is seriously allergic to seafood. Plate number 3 looks like onion rings, but they're actually fried calamari, so James has to stay away from that. The only safe choice is plate number 4. After pulling off a few more tricks, the suspect finally gives up and bolts out the door. Phew! Now the detective can finally relax in peace with his wife.